Tom Hauser here with another midweek blessing. Hey, do you remember when you were in elementary school and they had this thing called show and tell? And you might have hated it or loved it, but the idea was you would bring in your favorite whatever, your favorite toy, your favorite pet, your bicycle or a favorite blanket or whatever. You'd bring it in and you'd show it off to people, how many cool parts it had or how big it was or how small it was or all the things it could do. And then you'd tell about it. You'd tell who got it for you, how long you've had it, all the places you've taken it, your favorite things about it. Show and tell. Well, 20 years ago, Michelle and I started a giant round of show and tell with some other friends. 20 years ago, we were 32 years old. 20 years ago, we had been married for 10 years. 20 years ago, we had a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. And 20 years ago, we started a church plant with 17 other families here in Lewis Center, Ohio. 20 years ago, we started this giant game of show and tell with the Lewis Center community. What do I mean by show and tell? Let me tell you what I mean by show and tell. In 2 Corinthians chapter 5, starting in verse 18, it says this, "And all these things are from God, who reconciled us to himself through Christ, and who has given us the ministry of reconciliation." In other words, in Christ, God was reconciling the world to himself, not counting people's trespasses against them. And he has given us the message of reconciliation. Therefore, we are ambassadors for Christ, as though God were making his plea through us. We plead with you on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God. The ministry and the message, show and tell. The ministry of reconciliation, the showing part is to show people what it looks like to be a Christian, what it looks like to be a Christ follower. And the message of reconciliation is to tell them what it's like to be a follower of Jesus, or to tell them how to become a follower of Jesus. It's show and tell. It's not show or tell. And in many ways, we tend to err on one side or the other. We either just say that our life will just have to show what it's going to be like, what it's like to be a follower of Jesus, but we're never going to say anything. Or we just tell people all the time what it is like to be a follower of Jesus, but our lifestyle doesn't really reflect it very well. We show or we tell. But this passage says that we've been granted or given the ministry of reconciliation to show people and the message of reconciliation to tell people. And so 20 years ago, that's what we started doing here in Lewis Center. We started a new church plant, and we set off on this giant adventure. Little did we know what God would have us do. And he knows how many successes and failures we've had, how many times we've fallen on our face and gotten it wrong. But it's also been a great blessing, a great adventure to go and try to show people with our lives what being a follower of Jesus looks like, and to tell people with our mouths what it means to follow Jesus has been a great adventure, a great blessing. We are still trying to figure it out. We don't do it perfectly by any measure, but I would say it has been the greatest thing that we've ever decided to do. And so my encouragement for you this week is to, no matter where you are, whether you're at school that started this week, or whether you're back at work, or you're working from home, or you're at the dinner table, whether you're by yourself or with your closest friends, or you're trying to reconcile with someone maybe you're not a good friends with, I pray you would remember to do both of these things, to show and to tell what it looks like and what it sounds like and what it is like to be a follower of Jesus. To let your life speak for itself and to let your words speak for themselves, so that the combination of those two things, your life and your words, your works and your words, the ministry and the message, would serve to expand the kingdom of Christ here in Lewis Center or wherever you are. Let's play show and tell this week with our family, our friends, everyone we come in contact with. Until next week, peace, friends.